We get to hear Kayvon Wallace finally talk about Reed Blankenship surpassing him on the depth chart. Apparently, Jordan Davis might be coming back at just the right time for the Eagles. And are Eagles players really reaching out to Rob Gronkowski to come play for the Birds? Let's talk about it.
You want Philly?
Yeah, let's do it.
What's going on, you guys? It's your boy Joe Castro, aka Philly Fresco, and like I said, we have a lot to talk about, man. We're going to talk about Gronk, we're going to talk about Jordan Davis, we're going to talk about Kvonn Wallace and Reed Blankenship, man. But before we get into all that, please do me the favor, hit that like, hit that subscribe, join the family, man. Share it, hit that notification, do all the things you're supposed to do. I don't know all the things you're supposed to do. We bring in content. Would love for you guys to lock in, man. We on that road to 4K. So let's get into it, man. The first person I want to start with is going to be Kvonn Wallace. So Kvonn Wallace was spoken to, I believe, in his locker room after a practice. Just kind of talked to about Reed Blankenship, obviously an undrafted free agent, now getting time over him, right? And they wanted to ask him how it made him feel. If he, it must not feel good, I believe was the actual quote. And he said it doesn't, right? He said that it stinks. He says that I'm paraphrasing here, but he said that it's not something that, he had in plan, that he doesn't like being, the backup to the backup at this point now, right? So he did also say that he puts the team success first, right? He puts that team success first. He puts the team over his own individual accolades, which is good to hear. He's going to keep working. And maybe this was a little nudge for Kvonn Wallace that maybe he needed. Maybe this was something that Kvonn Wallace needed. Maybe now he's going to understand that this isn't guaranteed, right? Nothing is guaranteed. The NFL is a tough place, and at any moment, you can be out of a job. And look, Reed Blankenship has played pretty well. Obviously, it was only one game. It was a small sample size. There was good, there was bad, but to be thrown into the fire like he was, I was kind of impressed. So I'm glad. I'm happy that the Philadelphia Eagles are seeing what they have in a Reed Blankenship, because if he's somebody that can man that starting role, then you have not just depth going into the playoffs, but you have more answers to these questions that are going to come up in the offseason, right? So I'm all for giving Reed Blankenship the time. We've given Kvonn Wallace the time, and I'm sure he's still going to see snaps. I'm sure this isn't going to be something that it's going to be all on Reed Blankenship to man that and take over what Chauncey Gardner-Johnson would have done for us. So I still expect to see a little bit of Kvonn Wallace, but I'm glad that Reed is kind of just given the full reins, and he's kind of that starter, and he's entrenched, with that during the practices and everything, because that's going to be big for the Eagles, just having some type of stability, right? Once you get some of these injuries, it gets kind of tough to have that stability, to have that, continuity, if you want to call it. Have those same guys, same 11 guys out there, and just building confidence in one another is big. It's also big to be able to see what some of these backups can do, just in case, something does happen in the playoffs. So there's both sides of this, right? There's two ways to look at it. I'm okay with this, and I'm glad that Reed Blankenship is getting the opportunity to show what he is. He's played a lot of football in college. He's a very smart guy. I know it's a small school, Middle Tennessee, I believe is where he's from. It's a small school, but he's played 5 years. I believe he was a starter there for 5 years. He knows football. He knows his position. He knows what he's supposed to do. And it's all about him knowing this defense. So I'm glad that he's been able to kind of get that opportunity. And I think only up from here for him, at least. Now, next, we got to talk about Jordan Davis, man. The big man. We got to come up with like a good nickname for him. I don't even know what his nickname is yet, but Jordan Davis has been an absolute dog for us. And it's been in limited snaps, right? We've seen the big difference when he's out there compared to when he's not. I know that when he's out there, it's mostly 5-man fronts. So you can kind of attribute, our ability to stop the run game to that a little bit. But I think that Jordan Davis was a huge cog to what we were trying to do on this defense. You saw his snaps starting to increase, and he talked about losing 20 pounds over the time that he was rehabbing from this injury, which could be great. That could be great if he's going to be a little bit more stamina wise there for us, right? If that was the big knock on him coming into the NFL from the college, was seeing if he could be a 3-down player, seeing if he could be a guy that you have in there for more than 50% of the snaps. And I feel like he wasn't necessarily there coming into the NFL, and I think we saw that, right? And we saw the Eagles kind of bringing him along, so to speak, throughout the season. And then when he got injured, seeing that they focused on his stamina, seeing that they focused on just him being able to be out there for long periods of time says a lot. Says a lot. You have guys like Linval Joseph now that you brought in because a guy, Jordan Davis, was down. You have Ndamukong Suh. Robert Griffin, we got to figure out what he's going to do. But now that you have all these new additions, you add that to Jordan Davis being back. It's going to be very interesting to see how these Eagles work that defensive line rotation, which I want to ask you guys, how do you guys feel about that? Who's the odd man out? Because you have, I want to say, what, 5 now defensive tackles that are starters? Like, who doesn't play? Is it Milton Williams? Like, who are you kicking, Fletcher Cox outside a little bit more? What are you doing with that defensive line? Let me know in the comments what you guys are thinking about that, because to me, I think that's a very, very interesting part of what the Eagles are going to be, down the road. Now that you have all these weapons, how are you going to utilize them? How are you going to kind of deploy them, right? So that's what I want to know. Let me know what you guys are thinking. Maybe we'll do like a full video on just those answers. And then lastly, I want to talk about Gronk. I want to talk about Big Gronk, man. Look, man, it's a rumor out there, right? And I don't know how serious this is. I don't know how many people. I don't know who, but it's a rumor, right? It's a rumor that there's several Eagles players who have reached out to Rob Gronkowski about coming to play for the Philadelphia Eagles on this, little playoff run that we have. I'm not a contract guy, so please enlighten me again in the comments. If there's something in his contract, if he's still kind of owned by Tampa Bay, if there's something that we would have to do as far as that goes, I'm not really sure. But right now I know that he is a free agent. He is out there. So look, if Rob Gronkowski came here, it kind of like we were just talking about with Jordan Davis, right? You get guys because your main guy was kind of injured. So you got Linval Joseph to replace him. You look at that and what it's going to bring to the versatility of your defense. Now let's look at the other side of that coin, right? You bring a Gronk to this team. I know he's 33. I understand that. I know he's 33. I don't think he's played football all year. Obviously hasn't played football all this year. I think he played last year. But either way, he's older, right? He's not necessarily the Gronk of 5 years ago, 4 years ago, maybe even 2 years ago. But what I see is that if you have a Gronk on your team, now you have 2 vertical threats at your tight end position. It opens up not only when, obviously once while Goddard's down, that's going to be big for us because Jack Stahl, Grant Calcaterra, Tyree Jackson, they haven't really been dependable in the passing game. So to me, it's like you get a guy like Gronk, that might be interesting. I don't know if it's really plausible. I don't know if it's realistically even on the Eagles' radar right now. I don't know, right? But that is a rumor that's out there. So I wanted to bring that up. It'll be interesting if the Eagles are to bring somebody on like that. I think if you're going to add anything anywhere, I still kind of want a running back. I think if you add like kind of just a thrasher, just a guy that's going to fall forward for 3 or 4 yards every play, then I think that'll add a lot to this offense, a little bit more of a hard-nosed type of offense, and I think that would be interesting to see. So that's my opinion, but hey, if you want to bring Gronk on here, I ain't gonna be mad at you. I'm not gonna yell at you, Howie. It's funny, this is a little bit of a tangent, but I've seen so many memories from me and, other fans talking junk about Howie Roseman, talking about how, he needs to go and everything. And I've seen articles saying he was a cancer and stuff like that. And that was with the information we were given then. But now I can't say nothing. I cannot say anything about Howie Roseman. You do what you need to do, bro. And if it doesn't work, then we'll revisit it and see if you should have saw it, coming. That's really where I'm at right now. Because you know what, Howie? A lot of the things that I thought were crazy moves by him ended up to be very, very big for us. So can't say nothing. I really can't say nothing. But you guys let me know what y'all thinking about the news so far this week and how y'all feeling about this Titans game, man. I'm going to drop a video soon kind of talking about how I think that game's going to go. But other than that, y'all know what it is. It's Fly Eagles Fly. And we are out of here. Peace.
Eagles fans everywhere, this is for you.
Fly Eagles flying on the team. Touchdown. Time to get Jalen this ring. You don't really want to start a thing. This a Bird Gang Nation, baby. It's a Philly thing. Hater, and you looking like you type trash. I'm just here calling on Philly the podcast. And we can call a man dog or watch Miles score off the handoff. Rest of the division, your man saw Jackson like Sean, hunting like Randall. Season here, early time to do him in. Your boy Philly Fresco. Thanks for tuning in.